Join us this week as we descend into the darker side of human nature and uncover the shadows that dwell in the unknown. From chilling true crime and gruesome murders to spine-tingling paranormal encounters that defy explanation, we're peeling back the curtain on things that go bump in the night. So grab a flashlight and maybe a blanket, because you're listening to The Guilty and the Ghostly.
Welcome back to Guilty and the Ghostly. We have some special guests this week from Remember That. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves if you want.
Okay, I'll go first. My name's Corky, and, happy to be here. Daniel, your turn, buddy.
And I'm Daniel. I'm one of the co-hosts of Remember That, and I am also very happy to be here. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, man.
I'm Bryson with the Remember That podcast, and thank you for having us on tonight.
Glad we could do it. We're excited to have you guys. If you want to tell our listeners a little bit about your guys' podcast, kind of where it started, what you guys do, and where they can find you.
All right, well, we basically get together every week and we talk about horror movies. Daniel and I, we're lifelong friends growing up together, and we've always loved, watching scary movies and stuff like that. So, we just decided to start doing a podcast together, and it kind of morphed into a horror movie podcast. Wouldn't you say, Daniel? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so. When we first started, it was kind of more, our direction wasn't just on horror movies. We kind of were everywhere. And so we kind of narrowed our focus down, started watching what content that we were putting out that were getting the most amount of views. And it seemed to us that, most of the people viewed our horror movies more often. So we kind of started to focus in on more movie reviews and whatnot.
Well, today I have a story that has inspired several horror movies. I'm sure you guys are well aware of the Amityville horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last week we went ahead and covered the DeFeo murders. If y'all haven't listened to that, go back to last week, listen to that. It really sets the scene for what's fixing to happen. And I will say, while I was researching this case, I found out some information that I had no clue. One was how soon they moved into the house after the DeFeo murders. I was kind of taken aback, like, oh my gosh, I thought it was a few years, but it wasn't. So if you guys are ready, I guess we'll crack into it.
Yeah, let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking. All right, so the Lutz family consisted of George and Kathy Lutz, who were married in earlier in 1975, so July of 1975. Kathy had 3 children from a previous marriage. There was Danny, who was 9 years old, Chris, who was 7, and their youngest, Missy, who was 5 years old. George really stepped in and fulfilled this fatherly role for the kids, for all 3 of them. They were actually really close really fast. The kids even started calling George Dad on their own accord almost immediately. So the family seemed to be really close-knit really fast. Family was ready to find their forever home. They kind of had a few specific things they were looking for. Again, they're blending this family, so it's got to have room for all the kids. They wanted it on the lake or on water. George really liked to be on the water. They also needed it to be in the Long Island area because George owned his own business and he just needed to be close to his office to get back and forth. They had looked at over 60 houses before they came across this one. 60 houses, and they never made an offer on any of them. That's a lot of houses to go through and look at.
Ton of houses.
That's a lot
Yeah,
of
for
time
real.
to spend, too. How much PTO you got?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. And how many times do you just walk through it and you're just looking and it's like the same thing over and over and it's like, nope, not it. Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough people killed in this house for me. I'm just going to keep looking.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of mentioned something like that too, because they're fully aware when they buy this house what happened.
So they're real idiots then. I thought they moved in not knowing. So, okay, any part of me that felt sorry for them is gone now.
Out the window.
Gone.
Yeah. Well, they had a budget between $35,000 to $50,000, which now that might get you a cardboard box outside.
Right.
But back then, that was equivalent to about $180,000 to $320,000 buying power for a house. When they were searching for the home for their blended family, they really wanted it to be their dream home. And when they first laid eyes on the home at 112 Ocean Avenue, it felt like the universe had handed them that dream, basically, on a silver platter. The house itself was enormous. It had 3 stories, plenty of room for all their kids. There was a full basement. They had a pool, detached garage, boathouse right on the river. I mean, it basically checked all their boxes on what they wanted. But it was over their budget. So their budget only went up to $50,000. But the realtor was like, it's a really good price. It's a really good deal. It's only $80,000. So I will say at first, they didn't know that what happened at that place. So they're like, okay, it has all this stuff. It's perfect. It has all this character. What's the catch? Why is it only $80,000? And that's when the realtor told the Lutzes about the DeFeo murders that occurred in the house.
There's always a catch.
I mean, you give me all that in the house, and I might have to bunk with some ghosts, you know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's not another haunted house on this earth as worse as the one I'm sitting in right now. We just have to square up, you know. We're either going to learn to live together or somebody's going to go out the door, you know.
You got that side of the house, I got this side of the house. We'll just make it work.
So they find all this stuff out, and they're still like, what, 15,000 over budget or something? What'd you say their budget was?
55,000.
Like 30,000?
Oh, it's time to negotiate.
Oh, yeah. And you would think they would. So the realtor did mention that the house, you know, it is out of your price range. This is what happened in the house. That's why it's so cheap. And the Lutz family was like, you know what? That's the house for me. So let's do it. So to tell you how quickly they moved into this house, Ronald DeFeo had not even been sentenced yet while they were looking at this house.
Wow. Golly bum.
Wow.
Yeah. So the murders occurred November of 1974. We are now in December of 1975, so just barely a year after the murders occurred, they're moving into this house.
The blood hadn't even dried yet, man. Dang.
Barely.
That's a good realtor.
Yeah.
Just wait. You mentioned the blood hasn't even dried yet. Just wait. We'll get there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that's where my mind goes.
They basically were like, this is the house. We're going to do it. When they looked at the house, there were literally still bullet holes in the wall and a faint chalk line on the around where evidence was.
Man, who is this realtor, man, that was able to make this sale, man? Come on.
It's
Put them in the magazines.
insane.
They can't even patch up the bullet holes? Come on.
As is.
Throw a rug down over the chalk lines, man. Do something. Come on.
As a buyer, like, how stupid are these people? Man,
Yeah,
wow.
Either stupid or really smart. One of the two, because they got this
Hey,
great
yeah,
deal
you
on
pick
this
your poison.
house.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, regardless, the Lutz family said, yep, we're moving in. We're good with it. They kind of said, we're not believers in paranormal. Like, that bad juju don't bother us. We're moving in. So George and Kathy decided to submit an offer at asking price plus an additional $400 so that the house will come with all fully furnished with the furniture that was in the house.
Oh, my
You guys are
God.
freaks. What's
Are
wrong
you
with these
serious?
people?
Dead serious.
No way, man. Golly bum.
Wow, these people are nuts.
That's crazy.
Crazy. So on November 21st, 1975, we're going to back it up a little bit. Ronald DeFeo was finally sentenced for the brutal murder of his entire family. And then just a month later, on December 18th, 1975, the Lutz moved in to the family home. And things began happening very fast. So as they were moving in, they had some friends, of course, come help them move all the furniture in. But as they're doing that, they actually call their priest. So obviously they do believe in bad juju at least a little bit, because they call their priest and ask him to come bless the home.
Yeah, a little late now, don't you think?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Well,
Yeah.
it starts right off the bat. The priest is going through, blessing the home, throwing the holy water, doing his thing. He's coming to the last room. And it happened to be the room that the two young boys were murdered in. He's kind of going through his ritual, and all of a sudden he hears a voice behind him that says, "Get out." So he wraps up his little ritual, finishes blessing it, and he's like, "All right, gotta go. See y'all later." They're like, "Oh, do you want to stay for dinner?" "Nope, gotta go. See you later." He doesn't even tell them that he heard this voice telling him to get out.
God, man, that's kind of bad on his part, don't you think?
Yeah, man, because the house isn't blessed at that point, right? He wasn't
Yeah.
able to finish it. He's freaked out.
He just pissed
Something
it off.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, if you can't trust your priest, who can you trust? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, like he just went through and just made everybody, all the spirits mad, and was like, "All right, done my job. See y'all later. Bye."
Yeah, he just stirred the hornet's nest and then just went to the house. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
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 That dude ain't getting no blessings from the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
No kidding. Well, on December 19th, which is the very next day after they moved in, George was woken up at 3:15 in the morning. He said there was a very loud knocking on the door, on a door. He actually thought it was somebody at their front door knocking. So he's just kind of laying there like, who is knocking at our door this late at night? Like, what is going on? And that's when he realizes the knocking is actually coming from inside the house. He got up, he checked on all the kids, they're all asleep. He then goes into the room where, unbeknownst to him, the priest just had his experience in. And that when he goes in there, he glances out the window and he sees movement outside by the boathouse. And he's like, whoa, what was that? He can't really make out the figure, he can just tell it's a figure of something. Well, about that time, the family's dog was outside and happened to see this figure too, and kind of began barking and kind of following the figure. But the dog was on a leash, so he could only go so far and couldn't pursue whatever this is. So George runs downstairs, goes down to the boathouse to investigate, and there's nothing there. So then he just goes to sleep, just goes to bed. No
Again,
big deal.
you knew all this moving in. You knew all of it moving in, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Asking for it.
Yep.
Well, in the days after they moved in, Kathy kind of noticed that there was a lot of tension in the home. Like I said, before they moved in, George and the kids were great. The family got along great. But since they have gotten into this house, she noticed that George is kind of getting short with the kids. He's losing his temper. He begins calling them like little brats, unruly monsters, saying they deserve to be punished, which I call my kids brats all the time, but sometimes they need to be put in their place. So
Yeah, I know all about that. Come on with it. I got 3 myself.
That's right. They outnumber you. You got to keep them. Got to keep them in check.
It wasn't too bad when there was just 2, and then when there was 3 and they realized that they outnumbered us, 10 times worse.
Well, the way that he would react was basically the total opposite of how he was acting before they moved in. One day, George and one of the boys would actually get into an argument, and the son was kind of like going upstairs, how they kind of run away, like, I don't want to deal with this, I'm going to my room. As he's going upstairs, suddenly his feet are swept out from underneath him, but he doesn't go down the stairs, he is pulled up the stairs.
Oh my God, really?
And Mama is following behind him like, what is going on? She reaches for him, she grabs him, And that's once everything calms down, he says that as he was going up the stairs, he felt like he was being possessed by an entity. But as soon as his mom touched his arm, that entity went out of his body and into his mom. And when he looked at his mom, her eyes were glossed over and he could see the entity inside of his mother.
On the move.
Wow.
I would say call a priest, but he didn't.
Yeah, like that would do any good, man. Dang.
I think it's time for a match.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Well, George also kind of started showing other, I guess, symptoms or issues going on. He was very meticulous about showering and shaving like every single day. His physical appearance did matter to him. The longer they were in this house, the more he started skipping showers. He quit shaving. He basically just became a hermit in this house and would not leave the house. He also began constantly feeling cold to the point that he would obsessively be like feeding the furnace and the fireplace, trying to get it hot to where it'd be like 90 degrees in there. But he would still be bundled up in a blanket, and if you would walk around him, there were cold spots all around him while the rest of the room was like hot.
Wow. That's one of the things I remember from the movie. Of course, we'll talk a lot about this Thursday, but in the movie, he's all the time chopping firewood and stuff like that because he can never get warm, Yep. That's crazy that's actually something that's true. That's pretty cool.
Kind of crazy. Well, he often was woken up at 3:15 by loud noises. Sometimes it was a gunshot. Sometimes he said it was a knocking noise. But when he would wake up, expecting to wake up in his bed, he would be in a random part of the house.
I couldn't do that.
You do that, so I'm not surprised.
You have to strap me down. I can't just wake up somewhere,
Yeah.
Shoot, no, man.
Listen, GGP gang. Between researching murders at 2 a.m. and trying to convince ourselves that every creak in the house is definitely a ghost, we need energy. Not the jittery, heart-exploding kind. You know, the kind that makes you feel like you're about to fight a raccoon. Nope, we're talking about Dubby. The clean, crash-free energy that keeps us awake, alive, and able to tell you spooky stories without sounding like zombies. Whether you're editing recordings, chasing kids, or just trying to convince your friends that your house isn't haunted, Dubby's got your back. Go to dubby.gg.com, use our promo code GGP, that's GGP for Guilty Ghostly Podcast, and snag your 10% off your order. So get yourself some Dubby, because the only thing that should be dragging is the ghost that we're talking about.
Hey, Cade's here.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Cade?
How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Good, how are you?
So sorry for being late, guys.
No, you're fine. You're getting to the
Cade,
good part.
Cade has to go lift weights after work, so he sometimes he's late.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah, I try my best to get out of there as quickly as possible and throw weights around like a crazy person.
Hey, we're happy to have you.
Awesome,
Well-
awesome. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Too.
So he would wake up randomly in his house, no idea how he got there. He would just wake up and sometimes he'd be out in the boathouse, sometimes he'd be in the yard, sometimes he'd be in the basement, which I didn't really go into great detail when I was doing my research, but I did see where he actually found a room in the basement that was not on the blueprints, wasn't anywhere that nobody knew about this room in the basement. And when he ripped the door or the wall down or whatever, the whole inside of that room was painted red, and the dog would refuse to enter that room. So again,
Wow.
You're asking for it.
Well, here's the thing. You can always listen to if an animal's telling you something, then you better listen to it.
Yep.
Yep.
Because they know stuff we don't.
Exactly. We've had experiences like that in an old house that we lived in. Same thing. The dog would not go down that hallway, and that was the most active part of that house was down that hallway. So.
Yep, he hated it down there.
Mm-hmm. Well, George wasn't the only one having strange experiences. Of course, Kathy and the kids are as well. So one night, because this is right before Christmas, she's sitting at the table. She's kind of making a list of things that they've already bought, things they need to get for the kids. And she said, suddenly it feels like somebody walks up behind her and almost like embraces her in a hug from behind her, and then almost pats her on her hand. Well, as that's happening, her kids are yelling upstairs and freaking out. So she goes upstairs, and their toilet is like completely covered in like a black goo or slime. And so they try flushing it to try to go away. And then they go check the other bathroom. The other bathroom's completely full of this. So maybe it's a septic issue. Maybe it's a ghost. I don't know. But their toilets were completely messed up.
Dang. Sounds like some ectoplasm.
I don't care if it's ectoplasm or the sewer. I'm calling the city.
Yeah, either way, I ain't touching it. You're going to need more than a priest for that.
Yeah.
They would often have like this foul odor that would enter, like, fill the entire house. Like there was one point where a crucifix would flip upside down, and then right around that crucifix, it was just this horrible odor coming from that area. But it would also just randomly show up. Well, one day this odor's filling the house, and so she's like, kids, go open the windows so we can air it out. So the two brothers are upstairs trying to open up windows. Well, one of them goes to, it happens to be the boys' room again, to open the window, and it's stuck. He can't get it open, so he's kind of fighting it. And about the time that he gets it to open, his brother walks in like, hey, do you need help? And he goes to turn around and tell him no, and the window snaps shut on top of his hands.
Ah.
Golly bum.
Yeah, that makes me, ugh. No, thank you.
It wouldn't be fun.
No. And not only did it snap close on his hand, they're trying to open it and they cannot get the window to open. They're basically about to give up or go ask for somebody else to help, and it just randomly opens by itself, and he's able to pull his hands out.
Golly bum. But see, you have to know, moving into this house, that, you know, the previous owners didn't have that great of luck. What makes you think you're going to have good luck in this house, you know?
Yeah.
Must have been a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, well,
It was.
talked about that earlier. They had this phenomenal deal that come on and couldn't pass it up, even though, you know, you've got two small kids. Or how many kids did the Lutzes have? Three. So they got three small kids. They're going to go up in here. Like, I'm second guessing if it's just my wife and I, but you know, if I take my three kids, you got to look out for them too. You know.
See, I actually grew up in a house where someone died in it. A young child died in it, and I had a ton of paranormal experiences. And I'm pretty sure my parents, it was an old Victorian house, and they got it for a very good deal. It was just my mom's like dream home, essentially, and a lot of weird stuff happened in that house.
Yeah.
So what do you know what happened to the child that passed away?
Yeah, he essentially he choked on it's kind of, I guess it's kind of gruesome, but essentially he choked on like a Coke bottle. It was an old Coke bottle.
Oh my gosh.
And it was made of glass, yeah. And
Coke
he
bottle.
yeah, so the kid was a young autistic child, and he had squeezed the glass Coke bottle, and some of the shards, like, he choked on them.
Oh, that's
Oh my
terrible.
gosh.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awful.
it was insane. And when I was growing up, I had tons of weird stuff happening. I don't know if you guys want me to tell those stories on here or not, because I don't want to take the attention away from what we're talking about. But oh yeah, I'd hear people calling my name, and I would see the little boy. Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So did your parents
Yeah.
know about this before they bought the house?
Yeah, my parents.
What's
I
happened?
think it's.
Screw Cade. We're taking his house.
Hey, a deal's a
I
deal.
So I
Yeah.
wasn't. I was probably a year old when they got it. I've never had that conversation with them. I should honestly ask them. I want to say that they did. If I'm not mistaken. But I need to follow up with them and ask them. It's been a long time since we discussed it. But they had a ton of weird experiences. Like one night in particular, they thought that I was actually awake and out of bed, and they saw me They thought what they saw was me standing in the hallway or the hallway. They told me to go to bed, and what they thought was me ran upstairs. Then it happened again, and they told me to go to bed. And at this point, they got up and saw that I was asleep upstairs, and they came back in the living room and was just like so confused. and then they saw the little boy like run past the doorway and into the laundry room, and they just freaked out. So
Yeah, I
that
can
was
imagine.
a story I got told that they told me growing up. So
So did
but
you say that they still live there?
No. We had to
Okay.
move out of there because the street got a little dangerous in
All the
Etowah.
ghost
So
kids.
we, yeah, ghosts, and if the ghosts weren't bad enough, they were selling drugs down the road. So we had to get out of there. You had to pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so. That's interesting.
It is very, yes, it is very, very interesting.
Well, you're not the only one that a bunch of creepy stuff was happening with kids, because the youngest daughter, Missy, she all of a sudden started talking about an imaginary friend. This imaginary friend name was Jody. One night, George was putting Missy to bed, and she was talking about Jody, and he's like, "Well, where is Jody?" And she's like, "Oh, he's not in here right now, but he'll be right back." And he's like, "Oh, okay," just kind of playing into it. And then all of a sudden, she is excited and says, "There he is!" And George turns around to look behind him. He looks out the window of the second story floor, and he sees two glowing red eyes staring at him through that second story window.
Wow.
Yeah. No, thank you. Time to throw the kid away. I'm done. The kid, the house, all
Nothing
of it.
surprises me with this house. Is this that picture you sent us with the glowing eyes? Is that what you're talking about, or is that later?
That's later. Yeah, but it's interesting
Okay.
that is a claim, and in that picture, the eyes are glowing, so... Well, the family would often catch glimpses of what they called the devil pig in the house. It would often be seen around the daughter, Missy. Like, if she would be standing in front of a mirror and they'd be walking by and just kind of glance over there, they said they would almost see, like, this cartoonish devil-looking pig standing by her, and they'd do a double take to be like, "Whoa, what did I just see?" And it'd be gone. Or if she'd be peering out the window while they're outside, they would look, there'd be this figure behind her, double take, and it's gone. So it really seemed to gravitate toward their little girl, Missy. There was even one point where her imaginary friend convinced her to go out onto the roof of the house and told her, "We could be friends forever if you just jump," and was trying to get her to jump off the roof of the house.
Golly,
Well,
That's terrifying.
you give me a house that's got a ghost with some dude named like Jebediah, and he was an old farmer or something. He rocks a rocking chair, maybe closes some doors here and there. I'm cool
You
with
play
that.
checkers with him?
Yeah, like that's fine. It's all good. But you give me a devil pig walking around. I can't
What's
do
up?
a devil pig.
who named it Devil Pig, man? That sounds like a sweet heavy metal band or something like
Yeah.
that.
It sounds like
a high school mascot.
That's my
yeah.
ex-girlfriend from high school, man. She was the devil pig. And you know who I'm talking about.
I know.
I'm sure everybody has at least one.
Oh, I definitely
Yeah.
have one myself.
The family continued to have unexplainable experiences, seeing things, hearing things, different feelings. Bodies started levitating out of their beds. They started seeing like a greenish blood substance oozing out of the walls. So again, that maybe ectoplasm, who knows? Even the dog started acting even weirder than normal. They said it would almost like it was trying to kill itself. It would be on a leash and would jump over the fence, and they'd go over and rescue it, flip it back over so he wouldn't hang himself, and he would just jump right back over and try to do it again. So
That's weird.
My
very
gosh.
strange.
Man.
Then on January 13th, 1976, the Lutz family, finally, this night was the night that topped it off. Finally, they're like, okay, that's enough. So once it's all said and done, the family only spent 28 days in this house. So all of this is happening within a month time.
That's crazy.
Hope you got your
So
money's
basically,
worth.
they spent Christmas
kidding.
there, right? You said
Yeah.
they got it in the end of November, and they moved out in January?
December. They had it in December. Oh, I think it was like December 18th.
Okay, they moved in. They spent Christmas there, and that was it. That's all they could handle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yep, 28 days. Wow. Before you came on, we were talking about, I didn't realize how soon that they moved into this house after the murders. It was literally like 1 year and a month after the murders happened that the Lutz moved into this house.
Yeah, Kate, she said there was still bullet holes in the wall, and you could still see a faint outline of the, the chalk body outlines. Yeah. I mean,
are you
throw a rug? Yeah, throw a rug over it at least.
And they said, "Oh, it's $30,000 over our budget. We'll still take it."
And we'll offer you $400 so you can furnish it with all the furniture from the murdered family.
Yeah.
So, were they just in a rush to find a place and like before the holidays and just needed to get a house?
No, bro, this was number 60 that they had looked at.
This is the 60th house.
They looked at 60 houses.
60?
The other houses wasn't haunted enough for them.
Yeah. I got to have at least 4 deaths in my house or I ain't moving in it.
They said, give me the house, wrap it up, keep all the old people stuff in there. I'll take that stuff too. That's real cool. Yeah.
That's what's crazy is like moving in on top of somebody else's stuff, because I get weird if I go into like a Goodwill or something like that. I'm like, man, all this stuff's got, people's memories attached to it, let alone moving into a house and just, I'm going to go sleep on this bed that, it's got this weird red stain on it here,
Yeah.
That's weird. Right. That's just weird to me, man,
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously not stable.
What was because I'd have to imagine their stuff was not unpacked yet. When I moved in this house, we had stuff sitting around for a while. So what was the final straw for them to say, hey, we need to get out of here. This is getting too dangerous, because that's such a short time. I didn't realize it was less than a month.
Yeah. Well, that night, they really don't talk about it much. That's what's crazy, is in all the interviews they do, they'll kind of skim over it, but they will not go into detail about what happened that night. Basically, what they said is that George was woken up yet again at 3:15. The boys were screaming bloody murder in their bedroom. And supposedly what was happening was their beds were basically lifting up and crashing into each other over and over. George goes to get up, and he can't. He's pinned to the bed and cannot move. He looks over to the side to his wife, hey, go get them. And his wife is just hovering over the bed, levitating, basically. So he is able to reach over and grab her arm. When he does that, he looks at her face, and he said suddenly she turns into this 90-year-old woman just hovering above their bed.
Wow. Golly, if all this stuff is true, man, that is crazy.
Right?
And Cade, they tried to get the house blessed right up as soon as stuff started happening. The priest comes over. And then he gets to the last room, and it tells him to get out, and the priest is like, I'm out. Nope.
And he listened. That's what's sad.
Yeah.
Did they not contact Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Not yet.
They should have brought them in there.
They are part of the story. They're coming. So, his wife's hovering over the bed. His kids are screaming. Somehow he's finally able to fight and get up. The whole time, he said he's hearing almost like music or a marching band blaring through his house while all of this is going on. So he finally gets up. He, I guess, yanks his wife down. Is okay, enough floating away for you. Let's go get our kids. They run into the room, grab all the kids. They go to check the phones. Phones aren't working. So instead of getting in their car and getting the hell out of there, they're let's go down to the basement because we have another phone in the basement.
You know what? That is the most white people thing I've ever heard right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Golly bum. Let's go to the basement.
The horror movie tropes, let's just not get out of the house. Let's go.
Yep.
Exactly.
To the basement.
That's where the dog won't even go. That's got the red.
Well, the dog was trying to hang himself. That tells you something right there.
Yeah,
exactly. The dog was like, I can't handle this. Rehome me now, or I'm going to rehome myself.
Put me in the pound.
Well, it's funny that you're mentioning, the priest was like, I'm out, I ain't helping you. Because who do they call when they go down to this basement?
Ghostbusters.
Nope. They call the priest instead of calling. They would have been better off calling the
No
Ghostbusters.
kidding.
But they called the priest, and the priest was basically like, why are you still in the house? Like, what do you want me to do?
Dude, this dude sucks, man.
We're the Lutzes. And he goes, nope. Click.
Send him the voicemail.
He said, we already went over this 28 days ago, bro. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah, he tells them, you're on your own. I'm out. Nothing I can do for you, buddy. I'll pray for you. I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Pray for me, bud.
They grab the kids and they put them all in the car, and they're like, we're out. We're never going back. And they don't. They never do return back to the house. So I've seen a couple of different sources. Some said, of course, rumors are going around the town because they only stayed in this house for 28 days. This huge massacre happened. What's going on? But I also seen another source to where the Lutzes were actually at a party, and they met Ron DeFeo's defense attorney. And they were telling him what was going on. And of course, he's still actively working on appeals for his client. So he's like, tell me more about what's going on in this house, because then he can use that as evidence that his client was crazy and he was hearing voices and trying to get his case appealed, basically.
Man, that's just like a lawyer, man. Always scheming. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So he ends up putting together basically like a news conference saying, I'm working on DeFeo's case, and the Lutzes are living proof that something is going on in that house. And they were kind of like, whoa, buddy, like that's not what we were trying to do. Like, we're not trying to get this murderer off, that's not what we're about. So they ended up talking to some other news people, and they're like, they found this one, they're like, we want to have like the inside scoop. We want to cover this for you. We want to do this. They're like, as long as you're respectful, you keep our kids out of it. We don't have to go there. Sounds like a plan. Y'all can have full access to the house. And the news reporter that was actually the lead on that was really well known in the paranormal community. So she had a lot of contacts within the paranormal community, including Ed and Lorraine Warren.
There we go. I knew they was going to come up.
Get them in.
Yep, here we go. They always have their hand
They
in
just
something.
step out of the shadows.
Yeah.
We're going to write a book.
Yeah. Who wants to make some money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they end up doing this huge investigation on the house. Really, it was kind of quiet while they were there. They really didn't get a whole lot of evidence. They didn't really experience a whole lot. There was one gentleman who was there who was like an old war veteran, and he was very skeptical, but he would not go up the stairs. He's like, I want nothing to do with those stairs. I physically cannot go up those stairs. He also started having like heart palpitations and just like an overall dread feeling. He was not feeling the house at all. Of course, Lorraine claimed, she used her psychic ability and was like, there's a dark presence in here. And it's like, no shit. Like, what else is going to be in here? So she's going through there. She's like, the whole house needs an exorcism. Like the whole thing. Just douse it with the fire hydrant hose and holy water. Like the whole thing needs to be done.
Just find another priest to do it.
Yeah, just don't use the original one. Now, Lorraine would later say that upon entering that house, that is the closest that she has ever felt to hell. Using her psychic abilities and feeling all of that, she said that's probably the darkest place that she has ever been. During the investigation, they were taking random photos throughout the house, and that is the picture that I sent you. That was one of the pictures that they got.
That was freaky.
If you look up Amityville horror picture, it comes up immediately. It's very creepy. It almost looks like this small child that is peering over the stairs handrail, eyes glowing, which is odd.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is very creepy.
They all swear there were no kids in that house when they were doing that. And it's small. It would almost have to be a child. It was done on film. They said there's not really any way to I guess, mess with that at that time because, again, we're in the 1970s, so there's not really any.
Not really any altering software.
Yeah, that there's nothing really they can do. So they claim it's 100% true. Of course, there's skeptics that try to debunk it and said it's false, it's fake, they're lying. Now, rumors, of course, would start taking over. Some say that George was actually part of the occult before they moved into the house and continued to dabble in it as they moved in. So they wonder, did he open up a portal accidentally or maybe even on purpose? I have seen where they talked about, supposedly the house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. There is no proof of that. There was actually a family, I think they were called the Ireland family or Irish family, something like that owned the house. They had like an old shack built on it and they tore the shack down, but there is no proof of any Indian burial ground or anything like that on it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The Lutz family, of course, they swore they would never go back and they never did. They have done several interviews since then, and I will say they do seem very emotional and almost truthful when they give it these testimonies. And you can tell that something happened with that family, whether it's paranormal or something within the family. I don't know. But obviously they went through something. So, and that is it, basically.
Let me play devil's advocate here real quick. So you said that what's the dad's name? Mr. Lutz, is that his name?
George Lutz.
George. So let's say old George is dabbling in the occult. Maybe that explains why he wanted to move into this house, even though it was $30,000 over budget, and maybe that's why he wanted to keep the same furniture in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because $30,000 over budget, that ain't like, oh, dang, I went over a couple $100. That's $30,000, So maybe that explains why he wanted to move in there, Yeah.
It's not like people were like climbing over themselves trying to get this house. They were the only offer that was ever put in. Why wouldn't you at least try to get it under asking price if you're going to do it?
Right. And nobody made an offer on the house because most normal people are not going to move in a house where 4 kids had just got murdered, a year ago.
Right.
I'm not going to move in and start, patching up bullet holes. Yeah.
Well, you gotta think about this too. Think about being the neighbor of this house, right? You had the original murders go on. That's already crazy to have that happen next door, and then not even a year later, or right after a year later, these people move in. They got a priest blessing it, and then they're hearing, all of these crazy bumps in the nights and devil pigs walking around. You got Ed and Lorraine Warren showing up. Like, that neighbor's like...
And some guy outside chopping wood all the time.
Yeah, all the time chopping wood. I'd be like, get me a better neighbor, please.
Yeah.
Have any neighbors? Did any of the neighbors come out and say anything about the haunting, like anything in particular? Because you'd imagine all the noise.
Yeah, they didn't really notice anything with the haunting, but even with that, you would think with all the noise, but the neighbors didn't even hear the gunshots during the murders. They had no idea that a whole family was murdered by gunshots. They didn't hear anything. They only heard the dog barking outside. That's it.
And I thought that was odd too, that they don't hear gunshots, but they heard the dog barking.
Oh, really?
Yeah. During the original murder, none of the neighbors heard the gunshots, but they did hear the dog barking. But we actually accidentally performed a little experiment the other morning. Josh put a new scope on his gun, and we live out in the middle of nowhere, and we have a herd of deer that comes out in our backyard all the time. So he's like, I'm just going to go out tomorrow morning and see if I can get anything. Okay, great. I was awake. All of our children were asleep. And when I say he was in our backyard, he was literally on our back porch. I mean, right there.
Oh, yeah.
It was loud.
Dude, that's gangster.
I could have shot it out of my bathroom window if I wanted to.
Yeah, please tell me you was in your underwear too, man, because that just tops that off.
Too cold.
It was a little too cold.
It gets cold in Texas, really?
It was cold
sometimes.
yesterday.
Yep, actually this morning it was 31.
Yeah, 31 degrees. That's cold for us.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, people around here shoot deer off their back porch too. So I mean, that's
shoot, I'd take a shot. You know what I'm saying?
I can completely understand how this is happening.
Well, listen though. Yeah. Here's my thing about that whole. I thought about this today while I was listening to that podcast, because when I was listening to the podcast you posted today, I even texted the guys. I said, "Dang it, man!" I said I was hoping this was supernatural because the movie and everything, but I didn't realize the supernatural stuff happened to the family that moved in after that, the murders and stuff like that. So I had it all messed up. But you said, he took a shot off the back porch, didn't really wake anybody up. Maybe one shot don't, but I think multiple shots, somebody's going to start waking up. You would think anyhow.
At least start stirring. You hear one, and maybe it kind of startles you, but you go right back to sleep. But there were multiple shots. I think, there were 4 kids. I think they were all shot once, and then mom and dad were both shot twice. No. So that's a lot of gunshots.
So that's 6 shots. 6, 4, 5.
That's got to be a well-built house.
8.
No wonder.
8 shots.
That was successful.
Yeah. Yep.
So they can hear a dog barking, but they can't hear 8 gunshots.
Yeah, that's
the neighbors. I mean, I guess if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And they did test the family, which again I talked about it last week, or yesterday. They did test the family, did a toxicology report, because that has always been an argument: is how did he murder his entire family without any of them waking up? They had to have been drugged. Nothing in their system. He didn't use a silencer. There's really no explanation how he was able to shoot that many shots and nobody wake up.
No, that's insane.
And when I was listening today, I was listening to your show today, and I was wondering the same thing. He killed 5 people? 4?
6.
4, 5, 6.
6 people. So 6 people. And from the first person getting shot to the second person getting shot, maybe he doesn't wake up the entire house, but he's woke somebody up, and nobody woke up. And he went through the entire house and killed these people. That's strange to me. That's very odd.
Mm-hmm.
That house also has 3 floors and a basement, so I'm not sure where everybody was in the house, but that could play into it as well.
From what I understand, the mom, the dad, the boys, I believe, were on the first floor, and then the sisters were on almost like a second and third floor. So there was a second floor that Dawn, I think it was Dawn, or Allison, I can't remember her name, but there was one that was on the middle floor, and then the oldest, Dawn, she's the oldest, she was in the attic room, basically. So there are 3 different floors, basically, separating them.
And so where was the shooter's room? Where was his name is Joe? What's his name?
Ronald DeFeo.
Ronald, okay. So where was Ronald's room?
I believe he was on the second floor with Allison, if I remember right.
Okay.
I wonder where he started at.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I was wondering.
He changed his story numerous times. He changed his story. Originally, the first kind of truthful story he told, he was asleep on the couch, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and was like, "I'm gonna kill my family." Ties the dog up, goes to his room, gets the gun, shoots mom and dad first, then goes up to the attic and kills Dawn. I can't remember if he shot the boys after that or the second sister, but they were the last ones after that.
So basically, he went in order of threat level. So he's got to kill his parents first. Yeah. And then the oldest sister is the next biggest threat.
Which they did say that the 2 sisters, they believe, did start to wake up, because the oldest sister, the second one the second room, I guess he would have entered, she was found laying face down, but the gunshot wound was in her chest. So it's almost like she was sitting up to see what was going on, and he shot her in the chest, and she fell over into her bed. And then he went to the next room, which I believe was Allison, and kind of the same thing. They said by the trajectory of the bullet, it looks like she was kind of sitting up and seen him at the last minute right before he pulled the trigger.
Wouldn't that be terrible? Dang.
If you think about it this
that's
way,
horrible.
you know, the parents, like the dad, he's going to get up. If he hears a gunshot in the house, he's going to get up and go and investigate, you know,
He was
try
the
to save
first
his
one.
family, see what's going on. Right. So, as a kid, if you hear a gunshot, you know, you might be so scared and think your parents are going to handle it for you and everything's going to be fine that you just stay in the bed. You might even be sitting up just kind of watching, trying not to be loud,
Not
you know,
move.
keep listening to what's going on. Not move and put yourself in danger. So him taking,
Another thing is Ron DeFeo was known to be a drinker. He was known to party. So who knows if he would come in banging and clanging things around. And so they're just like, oh, it's just drunk Ron again, you know, doing whatever it is he's doing and ignore it and stay in bed.
Yeah, they might be a loud. My family's loud, man. We're all the time screaming and hollering. You know, if you're used to loud stuff like that, maybe it just doesn't wake you up because, like, I know we were always loud around my kids, so when they would fall asleep, they wouldn't wake up just with any, you know, sound or anything like that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's different from. I wasn't shooting a gun around them or anything, but you know,
Yeah.
we certainly wasn't
Well,
trying to be quiet around them.
The other question that I had after I listened to your podcast earlier was after the police investigation, he was actually charged with second-degree murder, and I don't understand the degrees here, but it was mentioned that it was also premeditated because he took the dog outside, he leashed it, so it was
Yes.
premeditated. So would that not put it into first degree?
No, because, and this is the only reason why, back in 1970, first-degree murder was only reserved for killing of police officers.
Really?
Really?
Yes,
I
in
did
New
not
York.
know that.
I didn't
Yes.
either.
That either.
Okay.
So
That's
that's why
insane.
it was second degree. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping they fixed that between then and now.
I think so. I think it's been updated
Yeah.
since
Yeah, I think
then,
so.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Yep.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think all their claims of the paranormal, do you think they're true, or do you think they were just making a lot of it up?
I'm gonna say
It's tough.
I want to say there was at least a little bit going on, and I think it escalated, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting attention for this," and then Ed and Lorraine walk in and say, "We can get you a book deal and a movie deal, and let's make some
Let's
money."
make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of helps that it was a place of bad energy, too, I guess.
Yeah. I really don't think they went into it thinking, "Let's do this," but I think it slowly morphed into that
Yeah.
as it went on.
And here's something else that I think is interesting is the fact that it occurred in December. So you're in Christmas mode, right? You're straight Christmas mode even before Thanksgiving, right? So everything's lighter, it's lighter energy, you're just happier feeling or whatever. Okay? And all of this stuff occurs during December. And all of the activity that happens at my house always ramps up in December, and it always has. And that's something that it's just weird that it's like that, because December with your Christmas energy, everybody's in the Christmas spirit, it's supposed to be so much happier and lighter, and yet my activity at my house really just ramps up at this time of year.
That's crazy. I guess it's feeding
Yeah,
off of
it's
everybody
kinda
else's
weird.
energy.
I have no idea. It's just a very weird coincidence.
Yeah. That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, it's an interesting story, and like I said, I didn't realize they moved into that house that soon after. I was taken aback, like, whoa, that's wild.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
it's
the
one
most
thing,
insane thing. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
moving
crazy.
into a house years later, you can kind of compartmentalize that a little bit. Like, yeah, that happened, but there's at least dust on the floor now, and
Well, there's so soon, and then there's I'm going to pay you extra to keep the
Yeah.
furniture that the people were killed in. Like
And
Yeah.
that.
I was fixing to say the
That's
same.
that's insane.
Do you know how
That's insane.
creepy that just would be?
Yeah.
You know? Golly,
Did
She
they
was
tell the
a
kids?
complete sicko.
Yeah, that's too.
Yeah, that's my question.
Were the
Yeah,
kids
if I
aware
was
at all?
kids, I'd be mad. I'd be like, guys, what did you just move us into?
Yeah, and I got a pig chasing after me in this
Yeah, I've
house.
got a devil
I got a
pig
devil
chasing me
pig
now.
Telling me to
What's
jump
up?
off the roof so
Golly.
we can be friends forever. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
telling the dog too.
You know, even now, they have so much problems selling that house. They've even changed the address to that house now, or the last time I checked. You know.
Really?
They did. Not only did they change the address, but they removed the windows so that it doesn't have that
Yeah,
characteristic to identify it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Really?
speaking of the windows, it's a meme, so there's no telling if it's true or not. But Jaws is supposed to be filmed in Martha's Vineyard or whatever, which is the
Yeah.
same area that the Amityville house is supposed to be in. So if you look at the scene where the woman who had the 12-year-old kid that got ate by the shark, and she comes up the dock and she slaps the sheriff in the face. If you pause it right there in the background, you can see a house that looks exactly like the Amityville house.
I have seen that
Wow.
screenshot.
I've never seen
Yeah.
that. I'll have to look that up.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that's it.
That's why the shark is
I don't
going
know.
crazy.
There's another fun true crime tidbit with Jaws is when they are panning across the dunes and there's a lady in the background. She has like a blue jean bandana on. She was found dead after the filming of that
Yeah.
and was like a Jane Doe for a long time before they found out who she was.
Really?
Huh.
Really?
Was she
That's
the one called
creepy.
Lady of the Dunes?
Man, stay away from Martha's Vineyard is what I'm
Yeah.
God.
Yep. So
Wow, now I'm going to have to go watch Jaws again.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she listed in the
Crazy.
movie credits at all as like an extra or anything, or was she literally just?
I
straight
don't
up
didn't know
remember.
that-
I don't
I
think
didn't know that
so
she
because
was
they don't
in it.
even have the name. They didn't even know her name. That's why she was a Jane Doe for so long.
Yeah,
That's
it
terrible.
was unsolved. They never figured out who it was, so they speculated because she looked just like the extra in the background, and that's why she would have been in that area because she took the job to be an extra. But yeah, they can't confirm it
Wow.
or who she is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Wow, that is crazy. Mm-mm-mm.
It's an interesting case.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to cover it. So, be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you
had
so much.
We appreciate it. Yes.
Well, I guess we will be joining you guys. If you want to tell everybody where to find you, that way they can follow you guys and be ready for your side.
Who wants to take it, guys?
I speak horribly, so you go ahead.
Well, you can
find
you can
us on YouTube. Remember that podcast with the question mark, which is funny because of the Australian
Yeah.
podcast that we linked up with. And then you can check us out on TikTok as well to see any kind of videos or shorts that we might post. We're on Facebook, also under the same name. And we do update Spotify from time to time, so you can check us out on Spotify. But it should all be under the Remember That podcast with that question mark.
Awesome.
Yep, that's us.
That's right.
We appreciate you guys having us on. Yeah, and we can't wait. We're going to have some fun Thursday because we're going to go over the movie, so that ought to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. It'll just be a continuation of this conversation.
Yes, and then we're gonna have to look for future movies, kind of like Jaws, as little tidbits like that where we can do another collab.
Shoot, yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that anytime, man. Let's do that. That's fun.
We definitely appreciate you hosting us.
We were
Most
glad to
definitely.
have
Guys coming on.
So how long have you guys been going?
We started in April.
In April.
about 6
okay.
months.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Oh, I thought you guys had been going a lot longer than that.
Nope, just started. The end of April. It was like April 27th was our first one. Yep.
Well, you guys do a great job. I know I listen to it every week, so Good job and keep up the good work because I really
and I'm
enjoy
going to
it.
start listening to it.
Thank you. Awesome.
Shoot, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Maybe we can get Seth and Tori in here too. So they're the other ones. They kind
Yeah.
of pop in every now and then. So
They're young and they still
And
have a life.
we're actually down one. My son Brent missed us tonight, but we normally have 5.
okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
all right. Well, I don't want to keep you guys any later. I know some of you have to be up early. We've got to be up early. So
Yep.
I think you guys are an hour ahead of us.
Yeah, it's I'm 8:13 here. Is what we got. All right.
See ya.
See ya.
See you guys.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode, and I hope y'all are enjoying our Amityville horror series and our first ever crossover with the awesome crew over at Remember That. Seriously, make sure you go check out their socials and hop over to their YouTube channel to catch our full breakdown of the original Amityville horror movie. We had a blast putting this together, and we cannot wait to bring you more collabs and creepy content just like this. So until next week, stay spooky, but don't get caught being guilty. Bye.